Hey friends, it's Christy. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to my December 2023 art journal with me video. Today I'm going to be doing my final art journal video of the year, and I've been doing this for 2 years now, so this is my second year, so this is the 24th video. So I'm going to be working in my art journal that I have shared with you guys lots of times. It's always linked down in the description bar below. I really love the size and shape of this one in the square format. And then I've also pulled together some different supplies. So I have this sheet of rice paper that I have had since I first started art journaling. I've kind of been hanging on to this one. It's a bit of a Christmassy theme here with the little birds. So I thought I would go ahead and use that today. I've also got my Tim Holtz Small Talk Ideology stickers that I use for my title. I've got a bunch of different little bits of ephemera that I pulled out. Some of them are actually like Christmassy. It says like Christmas cake, and then I just got some music paper in there. It's not necessarily Christmas, but I just thought the, Christmas Carol theme. And then the other little bits I just thought were in the right color palette or had some kind of significant with the numbers or whatever. We'll get to all of that. And then I also pulled out my Stamperia Romantic Collection, Home for the Holidays. This was from last year's release, but I still have a lot of good pages in there. But I was thinking specifically about this page with the birds, that maybe we could incorporate some of them with the other birds, or if I decide not to do more than just the two birds, the back side has more music paper and just some Christmas foliage that I thought was pretty, so I thought maybe I could use that. For lining my book, I have my washi tape as always. For a bit of color, I have my Stabilo Woodys 3-in-1 pencil crayons in red and green. And then for my personal item this month, I have the wrapping from a blind date with a book that I purchased on a bookstore excursion. It was my very first time buying a blind date with a book, and I'll talk more about that later, but I saved the wrapping because I thought that might be something fun to incorporate that has a little bit of memory attached to it. So let's go ahead and get started. I am going to open up my art journal, and you may remember that one of the months I forgot to add some parchment paper between the pages, and so I ended up accidentally skipping too many. I can't remember. Oh, it's back here. I accidentally skipped too many pages. Instead of just skipping one in between, they stuck together and I skipped two. So we are now at the end, and instead of skipping, I am going to have to just work on the back of November, because the last page is like this flimsy end papers that aren't really meant to be used for art journaling, so it's not stable enough. So we're just going to go ahead and work on this final sheet in the book, and I will do a flip through of my art journal and also just an update on the art journaling in general coming up soon. So stay tuned for that if you're interested to see all of the pages that I did so far this year. So as always, the first thing I'm going to do is just line the seam of my art journal with some washi tape that just prevents any fluids, different paints or gesso, whatever, from kind of getting down in the cracks and separating my pages, since my book is perforated. So I just want to reinforce the seam there and keep everything together. Just a little piece down there since it didn't tear straight. There we go. That should be good. And then these extra bits we'll just add somewhere over here. And then maybe we'll add a little bit on this side as well. Tear that down. There we go. And let's go up here. All right, so that is just breaking the blank page. So instead of having like an empty surface to work on, we've already got something going on, which makes it much less intimidating to approach. I do want to leave some white space, probably in the centers for my birds. I'm trying to think, do I want 2 on one page and then there's another one way down here? Maybe I'll do 1 in this area. I kind of need to think it out ahead of time because this is on rice paper. Anything that I put down beneath the birds is going to show through. So they're not going to stand out as much if there is other text and prints going on behind them. So I'm just kind of figuring out, I'm going to leave this bottom area, I guess, free for this little guy. And then we'll kind of leave the center free for these two for now. So I'm going to work around that and add some of my ephemera and things just in other areas. Let me grab my glue stick. Glue stick that I'm using is the Elmer's Craft Bond Extra Strength. I've been using this one for my entire art journaling journey for 2 years. This is the second one though. The first one lasted me a full year of doing 1 page each month. And yeah, this one so far has held up really well as well. And everything has stayed put in my art journal, so I have no complaints with that glue stick. It's worked really well. All right, this one I just went with because I just liked the little bit of pink. I thought it was, you know, kind of a softer version of the red for Christmas. It was kind of hard to find the color palette that I wanted to work with, even though Christmas is actually over. Today is the 26th of December, so Christmas was yesterday. But I just wanted to go with kind of like a Christmassy, wintry theme. Not necessarily Christmas specific, but you know, just the holly foliage and all of that, and all the pine boughs and everything, which honestly extends into winter. But some of the phrasing and stuff on the pages does say Christmas. I've got this little stamp with also some pine boughs or some kind of little trees or something that I thought also could work nicely. Maybe we'll add that one down in here, creating a little cluster. And then this one I just thought reminded me of the way that Santa goes around the world in one night, you know, with the little globe and the little swooshy marks around it. I just thought that kind of reminded me of that. So I might use that. This one kind of reminded me of the song The 12 Days of Christmas with the partridge in the pear tree, even though I don't think that's a partridge. A partridge looks different, but I just thought that could be fun to add a little bird in there with the bird theme, you know, that we're going to have going on. This piece I just picked because it was red and green. The text is red and green, so I thought that could be nice. Let's see. Where do we want that? Maybe somewhere right in there. This one is a bit of a thicker paper, so I do have to be careful with where I put it. Maybe we'll put it way up in the corner. Because if it's too close to the rounded edge of the spine, I don't know if it's going to really stick that well, just because it is such a stiff paper. So maybe on the edge would be better. We'll do that. Move it in just a little bit. There we go. And then this one, again, I just picked because the text was kind of red and green, so I thought that could be fun to use in little bits and pieces. Maybe we'll tear it up. I'm not sure. This one I wanted because it says the 26th, and that's what today's date is, so maybe we'll stick that one right there. Making a little collage in the corners here. So I hope that you guys all had a very Merry Christmas. I definitely had a very nice Christmas and very, very grateful for my family and all of the love. And I hope that you guys This one reminded me of a letter to Santa, so I thought maybe that could be something nice. We'll just set that one aside until I think about it. This one I also picked because there's like the dark pink and the green. It kind of goes with the palette. So let's see. Maybe something right down in here. Let's go ahead and do that. But yeah, so for my family, I think I've mentioned this before, but I've grown up celebrating Christmas on Christmas Eve. To me, Christmas Eve is so much more special than Christmas Day even, because that's when we open our gifts. That's when we gather. Well, we gather as a family on Christmas Day as well, but I don't know. I host Christmas Eve, so it's at my own house, and I don't know, I really love Christmas Eve. That's, you know, if my kids can't get off both days, I so much rather that they get off Christmas Eve than Christmas Day. That one's the one that's kind of, you know, special to me. Maybe right down in there, right, lining up with that one. We'll go ahead and just use this little bit of glue that was coming off. But yeah, so I always host, and in my family we do finger foods and dips and shrimp cocktail and all kinds of stuff like that. That's usually our Christmas Eve fare, and which I love. That's kind of like my favorite kind of meal, and we don't do it very often, so it's really special when it comes around for Christmas Eve. This one I just thought maybe I would use the number 5 because we have 5 people in my little family, and it's in green, so the color palette fit. Maybe we'll add that one right over there. Right in there. And let me check my birds. Okay, I don't really want to go any further in than what I've got. So I can kind of build up the edges and maybe like up here a bit if I want, but I don't want to use up any more of this space in the center. So I got to keep that in mind. I just thought this one was fun that it said Grand Christmas Exposition. So maybe we'll add that one. I don't know if I need the whole thing, but maybe I'll just tear out the word Christmas and add that in. I think that's going to be good. But I also think I want to add a little bit of this music note paper around, so let me add that first, because then I can kind of layer the word Christmas on top of other things. So let's add a few strips of this. But then, yeah, after everybody left, that's when my family, we opened our gifts. And we open gifts on Christmas Eve, and then we do stockings on Christmas morning. That's just how we've always done it, which I personally love, because then you don't have to get up so early on Christmas morning. That whole idea has never really appealed to me, of like getting up super early on Christmas morning and coming down in your pajamas with your teeth not brushed or whatever. Like, that just not, I'm not a morning person, so I much prefer, you know, opening Christmas Eve and then sleeping in a little bit on Christmas morning, then opening your stockings and having brunch, and then we get together with the family again later for like a Christmas dinner, and we do the family gift exchange. So anyway, everybody's different, and I think all of the traditions are fun, and it's, you know, up to everybody to decide how to celebrate and what they want to do. But I personally just love the way that we do it, and I've always wanted to keep that tradition. that we had when I was a kid. All right. Maybe we'll use a little bit of this one that had the red and green in it. Maybe we can just tear that into a couple of pieces here. Maybe we'll stick that one up here. And then after we opened our gifts, we played a really fun game that I just came across it. Like it was like a reel or a short video or something that happened to pop up on my Facebook or something. I don't know. It came up somewhere and I saw this game and I thought, oh my gosh, that would be so much fun. I think my kids would really love that, and my husband too. But I literally saw the video on the evening of the 23rd. So I was like, oh man, if I had seen this before and known about it, like I could have like made this happen, and I think it would have made Christmas really special. But I had to work the whole day the next day. I had to work Saturday at my job, and I knew it was going to be like a crazy busy day, and we had birthday parties and stuff there, so I knew it was going to be a lot going on, and I just didn't think there would be any way I could make it happen. But the whole day I just like couldn't get it out of my mind, and I kept thinking how much fun it would be. I knew it would just be right up my kids and my husband's alley. So I decided after work to just run to the store and see if I could make it happen. I don't even know what it was called, but it was like you take a whole bunch of red solo cups, or actually in the video they used green, but I had red at home. So I went ahead and used what I had because I didn't want to, I didn't want to spend too much money on it because I wasn't sure what would happen, if everybody would like it or not. And then you need a prize that will fit inside each solo cup. And then you need tissue paper, green tissue paper, and rubber bands, and a small Christmas bow. So how you do it is you fill the solo cups with the prizes, and I did like candy, I did some hot cocoa packets, I did thin pairs of gloves, I did a pack of gum in one, I did a $5 bill in one, I did a $10 bill in one. But you could also do other things like lottery tickets, Christmas socks, like funny Christmas jewelry, like those light up necklaces, or like a reindeer nose or something like that. But I just didn't have time to do it better. Next year I definitely will do it differently and add more things just to keep it interesting, because spoiler alert, my family loved it and said it has to be a new Christmas tradition in our family. So yeah, I was really excited that, because I worked really hard to pull it together super last minute. And yeah, but anyway, once you have filled those solo cups with the prizes, you cover each cup in 2 layers of tissue paper, green tissue paper, because if you only do one, you can kind of see through if some of the prizes are like darker, because they had, in the video I watched, like they had some that had just like a slip of paper that said nothing or in it. So I wanted kind of like a booby prize, whatever, but I didn't want it to be something like nothing. So I ended up buying some of the chocolate coal, and I put that in 2 of the cups so that, it was like a want kind of prize, but it's still not bad because it's chocolate. But anyway, so you fill the cups, cover them in 2 layers of tissue paper, and then rubber band it to the top. And then you arrange the solo cups in the shape of a Christmas tree. I ended up doing 16 cups. I did 15. So we each had 3 chances to win, because there's 5 of us. And then the last one we did like sudden death. So one person would get the last prize. And I don't know if I want this anymore. I don't know. It doesn't. necessarily fit. And I did end up covering some of the white area, but I'm going to knock that back with some gesso before I add my rice paper, so don't worry too much about that. I do have more space to fill, but I don't know. We'll add that. We have some space there, so. Anyway, and then you take a small Christmas bow, like the kind that have the little sticky on the bottom, but don't pull off the sticky, obviously. And you toss the bow on top of the cups, and you want to land on one of the cups. You have to land on a cup or else you don't get a prize. But if you do land on a cup, you get to punch through. We just took 2 fingers and kind of punched through the tissue paper, and then you would claim the prize that is inside. Honestly, even though some of the prizes were not great, because I literally I threw in Hershey Kisses that were left over from baking cookies. Like the hot cocoa packets were like from my kitchen. Because I didn't have enough time to buy everything. And I didn't want to let them know what I was doing either. So I needed to get home in a reasonable amount of time. And I was hosting Christmas Eve the next day, so I had a ton of stuff to do. So I just kind of ran around and made it happen very quickly with what I could. In fact, a lot of the stuff came from the dollar store because I just, didn't have time to think it through. And like I said, I didn't want to spend a ton of money because I wasn't 100% sure if they would even like it. So anyway. But yeah, you toss the bow, you claim the prize, and yeah, they loved it. They loved it. They had so much fun. At first, when I told them, I'm like, we're going to play a game, and they're like, ugh, I don't know, I'm tired, I ate too much, I don't feel like it. And, but I kind of was insistent, and I'm glad I did, because they ended up really getting into it, and everybody was cheering and rooting for each other. And then afterwards they were trading the prizes and stuff, so that made it fun too. So if you ended up with something that you didn't necessarily want, you could trade it at the end with whoever, and still end up with something that you wanted, so that just made it extra fun because you could barter and stuff at the end. So anyway, I hope I explained that well. It's so hard to concentrate on what I'm doing and talk at the same time, but hopefully you guys understood that. And if you decide to implement it into your next family tradition, let me know, because we had such a blast playing it. It was really, really fun. We are definitely going to do that again next year. And next year I will, make it even better, because I'll have more time to think about it and, really come up with good ideas and stockpile prizes. You want to make sure that the prize will not knock your solo cup over, because it's, they're not very heavy, so you want to have stuff that can kind of roll up inside, or just mini snack size things, or you could do lip balms, or other stuff like that. Anything that's kind of small and would fit inside a solo cup without being too top heavy to knocking it over, I think would be great. So maybe right there. All right, still had my newspaper. So like I said, my husband and I went to my family Christmas party in Maryland and Annapolis, and that meant that I got to go back and visit my favorite bookstore, Old Fox Books. And I saw this blind date with a book, and I've always wanted to try one, but I've been too nervous to try because I don't want to end up with a book that I wouldn't love. But when I read the description on this cover, I instantly knew what book it was. I was 99.9% sure that I knew what the book was. And it was a book that I absolutely loved but didn't own. And so it was well worth the risk for me. It was less than $10 to do it. And so it was kind of like a little Christmas treat to myself to do the blind date with a book and get to unwrap something. I don't want to spoil it. should I say? Or maybe I can leave it down in the comments if you're interested. I kind of held it steady in case you wanted to read the description for yourself, pause the video, and see if you can guess what book it is. I'll leave the title of the book in the description bar down below in case you're curious to see if you were right. As soon as I got it home, I unwrapped it, and yeah, it was definitely the book that I thought it was, so I was super happy about that. The only bad thing is that the wrapping that they used is the sports page, and I am not into sports at all, but I don't know. I thought it still would be fun to use, so I think I'm gonna just tear out a few little bits and just add that in as well somewhere. Maybe we'll add it right in here. And like I said, I did end up doing what I said I wouldn't and covering up all of the space for the birds, but I decided in my head that I am going to knock this all back with gesso before I add my rice paper. So that should help quite a bit. So maybe we'll tear this one and just have it in a couple little places. It doesn't even have to be straight. It could also go sideways. I think that's fine because it's not about reading it again, because obviously it's just the sports page. It's just about capturing the memory of being there. And I did think about, like, if I wanted to use like the actual description. Oop, that's all right. We'll just stick that there, and maybe we'll stick that one right there. I thought about using this in the art journal instead and kind of tearing that off, but I also thought it might be fun to tuck this inside the front cover of the book and keep it in there so that it's just like a little memento. You could always use it for a bookmark when you read it. I'll probably line it with some paper though, because they did use some like sticky stuff to make it adhere. So maybe I can like line that with a piece of paper, and then you could like take it in and out and use it with, use it as a bookmark. So, all right, I think this is good. So I'm going to grab my gesso and we'll start knocking some of this back. All right, I am going to add my parchment paper just to keep everything from sticking together, and using my Pro Art gesso as always. You can use any kind of white gesso though. And I'm just going to use whatever's in the cap. And what I'm going to do is start to, I'm going to sit down for a second because it's easier to do this part sitting, but I'm just going to go kind of and blend the seams of things together first of all, and just kind of help everything look a bit more seamless, not so separate from each other. Knock some of it back so that it's not quite so vibrant, and mute any of like the writing that I don't quite want to be so bold. And then when it comes to like the spots where I'm going to add the birds, I'm also going to knock that back a bit, you know, and be a bit more heavy-handed with the gesso in those areas. We'll blend the seam of this together a bit more. This down here. Just kind of work my way around the page and, you know, knock back whatever I think needs to be softer. Maybe smooth some of the center section here into the seam. And I didn't end up using any of that Stamperia paper, but I think that's fine because the rice paper has a lot of stuff on the edges as well. It's not just the birds in the center that I want to use, but also all of the pine boughs and things that are around the center. So actually, I don't even think I need the Stamperia paper. I think I'm going to have plenty to work with. with just the rice paper itself. So I think one of the birds is going to be right in this area. So I want to make sure that that is light enough there. And I think the other one will be somewhere over here. Probably should have moved that 5 a little bit up higher, but anyway, maybe we can move one of those birds down a little bit lower and have them a little bit closer together. So I'll probably lose this ice coupon there, but I'm not that concerned about it. I'd like to keep the number 5 if I can, but that's all right if it doesn't, you know, stay. But yeah, I would love to know what you guys' Christmas traditions are. Do you guys play any games? Is there any kind of like thing that is really essential to you feeling in the spirit of Christmas? Like something that you just love? Do you go caroling? Do you go to like a Christmas Eve service? We did do a Christmas Eve service on Christmas Eve right before dinner. We got all of our food prepped and everything except for what had to go in the oven we did ahead of time, and then went to the Christmas Eve service at 4 o'clock. We were back home by like 5:15ish, and then we had dinner at 6:30. So we made it to the Christmas Eve service. It's always tricky to try to make that happen when you're hosting, but luckily we attend the service with the people who were coming over. So, you know, everybody was understanding about, you know, us starting at 6:30 and everything like that. So, all right, I think this is looking pretty muted. I think I'm happy with how that is going. So I am going to let this dry for just a minute, and then we will start adding our rice paper elements. Maybe just a little bit more white here, just so we can really see that bird. I think these are going to be fine. I think we'll be able to see those pretty well. So, and I don't mind if a little bit shows through. I just want to make sure that they are still like visible as birds. So let's go ahead and open up this rice paper, and we will tear out the little one down at the bottom first. I'm going to just tear it rather than cut it because I want to have those softer edges. And it's pretty easy to tear. It's almost like tearing a napkin. It's not that difficult. I think we will keep the greenery. There's going to be too much of it, and I'll have to trim some off, but maybe I can use it somewhere else. But we'll leave it on there so we can see how much we need. So I'm thinking the bird somewhere right in here, which means the greenery is going to have to be torn right about here. So something like that. Just going to lay things out ahead, first so I can get an idea, and then where am I gonna, I think this is gonna have to be smaller. It's just a little bit too big to fit anywhere. Maybe somewhere up in there. Can use those little extra pieces to add some extra greenery around the edges. Maybe something like that. And then we have our other little birds. For these, I'm just going to tear out the bird because they are in the center, so I know that that greenery isn't going to be able to be used with them. I'll have to use it, you know, separately and add it in. I will use the greenery that he's standing on, though, that little berry sprig. And maybe somewhere right in there. And then we've got this little guy. Glad I'm finally getting to use this because I bought this, like I said, when I first started art journaling, and then I ended up using something different last Christmas, but I didn't want this to go to waste. So maybe we can even have the berry sprigs kind of overlap a bit. Something like that. Maybe I'll tear out a little bit more. That way I can keep my number 5. Okay, I think that's good for now, and then obviously I'm going to add some more of this greenery and stuff around, but we'll get the birds situated first and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to use my Dina Wakley Media Clear Gesso. I've got my water off to the side here, so I'll just dip my paintbrush in there and pick up a little bit, and then we'll add this guy first. Is that where I wanted him? Somewhere right about there, I think. And then we'll sandwich him in with another layer. Okay, yeah, I think he stands out pretty well since I have that white gesso underneath. We'll go ahead and add this little sprig since we're still working on this page. And we'll do this one. Maybe right there. That was a little bit too much, but that's okay. We'll just spread it around, seal the rest of the page while we're working on it. I might add more, but anyway. And then we'll do, I think, this guy first because he's kind of behind. Maybe right there. And then this guy is going to go right down here. I love birds. I love birds so much, and so this just makes me happy. All these sweet little birds. All right. So we've got that, and then I think we were going to put this one right up here, right? Let's get a bit more clear gesso. That's going to act as our glue. Maybe we'll add that a little bit more in the crease. Okay, and then we can go back to what's left of our rice paper and see what else you want to add. And I've got this whole section too, so let's take this little bit over here first and see if that can go anywhere. Something down in this corner I think would be nice. And if it hangs over the edge, that's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and trim that off after it's dried a little bit. I'm going to have to heat set all of this. Try to just add a bit to the corners especially and emphasize those a bit. I don't want to cover up everything, but just add an extra layer over top. We can do a bit more over here, right? think I might also like to add just a little bit of this center part with the gold, like diamonds, in a few places. I thought maybe that might be nice to just soften a few more things, like maybe somewhere right in here. It's kind of a dark spot. So maybe I could add something like that. Okay, I'm going to dry this and see how I like it before I decide if I want to do anything else. I did go in and add a little bit more of the rice paper around the edges just to kind of fill in some of the greenery there. And I like how that's looking. I'm still not 100% happy with how the birds are standing out, so I think I'm going to come in with a pen and just outline them a bit, add a few little sketchy details. I think that's going to really help them pop. So I'm starting with a Micron 01. I'm not really sure what size is going to be best, but I wanted to go on the smaller side, so maybe just something like this, just coming in and adding a little bit of definition, I guess, to the edges. I think that might really help. I want to keep it loose. I don't want to be too perfect about it, but just kind of sketching in a few little details, some lines here. I think that also really helps add to you know, the hand-drawn look of everything. I'm going to do it on some of the leaves as well. Not all of them, because that would take forever if I did all, but just a few of the main ones I think would be nice to have defined a bit more, like especially the ones that are right around the birds. Oh, some of that is not completely dry yet. I guess I missed a spot there, but that's all right. My pen stopped working. Let me grab a piece of paper and kind of scribble it off. But yeah, definitely tell me what you guys have been up to. You can tell me what your favorite Christmas gift was. Anything you want. I just would love to hear. I love Christmas, and to be honest, I really struggled this year. I just felt like the whole month that I was kind of behind the ball. Like I just couldn't seem to catch up this year. And right up until like Christmas Eve, even Christmas Eve, I was like, this doesn't even feel like Christmas to me. I don't know. I just, like, it, for me, it could have still been a few weeks away. Like, I just was not in as festive as a mood as I really wanted to be. Okay, this pen is really, either it's running out or it's really getting clogged on the clear gesso here, so I might have to switch to a different pen. Just felt like I wasn't doing enough, you know, that I didn't get as far in my holiday card series as I wanted to, and I didn't get as many Christmas cards out to people as I wanted to. I felt really bad about that. I really had wanted to send to more people this year, but it just didn't happen. I don't know. I just couldn't stay on top of things this year. I don't know what it is. Like I really tried to like get in that festive spirit and embrace Christmas, because it only comes around once a year and I love Christmas. But I just, for whatever reason, like just couldn't seem to catch my breath, and you know, I was dealing with all of that imposter syndrome, feeling like my Christmas menu wasn't enough, that I hadn't done enough for, you know, as far as gifts for people that I love, that I hadn't really done anything festive. I hadn't gone out and looked at Christmas lights. I hadn't sang Christmas carols. I hadn't done anything that's like, you know, the things that get you in the Christmas spirit. And it was just because I was so busy with work that it just didn't happen. But I don't know. Next year, I hope I can get a handle on things better and somehow start even earlier. For me, it's so hard to start early because I have a hard time feeling festive when it's not even close to Christmas, because I hate winter. I hate winter so much that I'm like, I don't want to embrace Christmas too early, because that means kind of embracing winter, because where I live, winter is here for 6 months. We have winter from Halloween until May. So, you know, I just, like, I don't want to, like, hurry the seasons along. I'm hanging on to summer by the skin of my teeth every year, and fall as well. And so I don't like to get too in the spirit of Christmas ahead of time. But then by the time I'm ready, I don't know, there just isn't enough time left to really embrace the season and do all of those fun things. I didn't bake Christmas cookies until the 23rd, which is for us the day before we celebrate. So, and I baked all day long. I baked 4 different kinds of cookies, but they all turned out so delicious. I think that's pretty good. Maybe we'll add a little black to this guy's eye. I don't think we did, so just to make those nice and bright again. I think that helped a lot. I think that kind of pulled them forward a bit and helped them not to be so lost on the page. Oh, it's still wet over there. Okay, I'm gonna have to dry that better. Let me pause for a minute and dry that, because I want to add some of the pencil crayons, and that's not going to blend if the paper is still wet. So I got to dry this little corner here. But yeah, let me know if any of you guys have ever felt similarly and kind of struggled to get into the Christmas spirit, and what you did to kind of combat that, because I definitely want to be better next year. You know, I only have my kids at home for so many years, and I don't even know if they'll all be here next year. Things change so rapidly once your kids start to grow up, and you know, I just want to really sink into the spirit of Christmas and enjoy it. And so if you have any tips for how to just combat those, you know, feelings of not really feeling festive, let me know for sure, because I would love to really, I don't know, romanticize Christmas next year. I know that that's a word that people are using a lot these days, and but you know, I just want to make every day that leads up to Christmas special, because it is special. It should be special. We deserve to enjoy it. And even though we're moms and we're always busy and all of the work usually falls on us to make it festive, I still want to be enjoying it. You know, I need to find a better balance of work and joy, especially when it comes to the holiday season. So I would love any advice for sure. All right, so we've got that. I almost feel like I want to bring a little bit of the color in further, almost as if it's like the glow from some Christmas lights. Maybe just bring it in a few little spots and add some more color and really blend that out. Let's add some of the red. Maybe we'll add a little red in here. Like just soft, but just bringing that color in a little bit more so it's not only on the edges. Yeah, so I'm sad that Christmas is over already, because it wasn't until basically when I went to the Christmas Eve service that I started to kind of feel festive, when we started singing Christmas carols and you know, lighting each other's candles and all of that. And then, you know, once it was upon me, I was present and I was there for it, but in the days leading up to it, it just didn't really feel like Christmas at all to me. I don't know. I just really struggled this year for whatever reason, but like I said, I'm hoping to do better next year because I know that it's precious and you don't get that many chances, you know. Things change quickly and your kids grow up and they start to do their own things and have their own families and travel and all of that, and then, you know, it might be every other Christmas that we see them while they'd spend, you know, the other Christmas with their wives' families or something. So anyway, I think I would like to do a little bit of gold around the edges, some little Inca gold, and maybe add a bit of gold metallic edges. I think that could be really festive. I'm just going to pick up a little bit with my finger. It's kind of like a wax, and I'll rub a bit in the corners and see how that looks. There you are. I know the holidays can be a really hard time for a lot of people, especially if you can't be with your family and friends for whatever reason. So I hope that all of you really had a Merry Christmas and were able to enjoy the season and just fully embrace all that it has to offer. I do think I like that. I think it's just adding a little bit of elegance to the corners and a little bit on the edges as well. Just do a little bit here and there. Anywhere else? Maybe just right on this edge where I have a lot of red, just to break up some of that. Okay, I think that's looking pretty good. Add a little bit here and there maybe, just with what's left on my finger. Okay. And then we need a title. So I'm going to go to my Tim Holtz Ideology Small Talk stickers and I'm going to flip through. We're going to do the white ones today. And we'll see what I can do. I don't think there's anything Christmassy in here, but we'll see what we can come up with. Okay, I think I'm going to take this "You Must Be Present to Win," but I think I might alter that a little bit. And then, let's see, maybe "Collect Beautiful Moments." Make it count. And leave a little sparkle wherever you go, maybe something like that. But I think I'm gonna alter this one, the "You Must Be Present to Win," to just "Be Present." I think that that is important, and that's really the sentiment that I want for this holiday season. So just trim that down with my cutter bee scissors. So let's add that. Let's do maybe, let's get it on there straight. Be present. Make it count. Collect beautiful moments. And leave a little sparkle wherever you go. We'll put this one down somewhere over here. Maybe right there. I am going to take my micron pen and just outline those a bit, just to add a little bit of those sketchy lines back in like we had around the birds. It also is going to draw more attention to them on the page, make them feel more incorporated. Okay. I think that kind of sums up what I hope for myself for next year, what I hope for all of you if you also struggled this year. Okay, I think I'm going to do some white splashes using my Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White, just because it's Christmas, so add a little snow. Even though we did not have a white Christmas here, there's no snow, which is surprising, but I was fine with it. I know a lot of people really enjoy a white Christmas, and I like it too. Like if I could pick, I would have it snow on Christmas Eve, or even if I was being generous, from like the day after Thanksgiving it could start and then be gone by the day after New Year's. That would be perfect for me, but that is not what we get here. So I'm adding a little water to that just to make it more fluid. We'll mix that up on a block, and then I'll just add a few little taps here. I think that's good. I don't want to go too crazy. All that's left is to add the date, and I think I'm going to add it right here. There's a nice little spot there. So I'm going to take my date stamp. Today is December 26, 2023. I can't believe 2023 is just about over. That seems so crazy. Let's make sure it's facing the right way. Yeah, hopefully you can read that. Maybe I'll just take my pen and just... No, that one still doesn't want to write. Just darken up that 2 a little bit more so we can see that it is the 26th and not the 6th. But anyway, that is going to be my last art journaling spread of 2023. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to hit that like button and leave me a comment down below. I love to hear from you. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I hope you had a good one, and I'll see you soon in another video. Bye-bye.